Welcome to the Higher Self Club podcast. I'm your host, Shay, and together we'll dive deep into topics such as mindset, manifestation, money, business, and wellness so you can feel expanded and empowered to create a life of joy and freedom. I'm so excited to be on this journey with you. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Higher Self Club podcast. My name is Shay. I am your host. And on this podcast, I am taking you on a journey as I create my dream lifestyle of freedom and travel and abundance so I can help you to do the same. And we cover all sorts of different topics that are going to help you to expand into your higher self so that you can live a life of fulfillment and of joy. So today I'm super excited to be recording this episode because so much has changed since the last episode. Oh my goodness, I just feel like the start of this year has just been the biggest whirlwind. I don't know if you felt it, but the collective energy has just been wild. It feels like everyone I speak to is going through some kind of massive shift or change or upheaval in their life. And I'm not too much into astrology, but I know there's a lot of things going on. And interestingly, I heard the other day that it is, for many religions and cultures, it is their new year right now. So there does feel like there's an essence of newness and rebirth in the air now. And I feel like the start of this year, I've just been a little hamster on my hamster wheel, like, just keep going. And now I've like popped out on the other side and I'm in Bali and I'm living this like life that I used to dream of, and it just has happened and it's just bizarre. And every day Daniel and I are looking at each other and we're like, how the fuck did we get here? What is going on? So in saying that, I do know how we got here. It was from a series of different decisions that led us to this point. And I want to take you through that today because honestly, I'm just pinching myself every day at the moment. And it is wild to me because at the start of this year, I was feeling quite stagnant. I was feeling like I was in this monotonous routine. I was feeling uninspired and I just felt like I was getting nowhere with my business. I felt like I was working all the time, but nothing was happening. And if there is one thing that seriously stifles my energy and my inspiration and my motivation, it is a repetitive, monotonous routine. So I wanted to feel expanded and inspired and excited by life, and I knew that something needed to change, and this is literally what I teach inside the expansion project, so I knew exactly what I needed to do. So if you're feeling a little stuck at the moment, a little stagnant or unsure of where you're going next, or you're lacking a bit of fulfillment in your life, then this episode is for you. So I'm going to explain to you how I not only pulled myself out of the rut that I was in at the start of the year, but then how it led me to now moving to Bali for 6 weeks and completely shifting my lifestyle. So let's dive in. I'm so excited to share. So the first thing that I wanted to share is, I guess, a little bit of a hard truth or a bit of a hard pill to swallow. So over the past couple of years, I've come to know this as absolute truth. And whenever I'm feeling stuck, I know I need to have this conversation with myself. So what I want to share with you, this hard truth, is that the belief that you are stuck is not true. It's actually a limiting belief. What is actually true is that you're scared. So what I'm trying to say is you have options. You're not actually stuck, but you're actually scared to take these options. And often we tell ourselves that we don't have options, or we don't know what to do next, or there are no alternatives, or we don't know what the alternatives are. But if you truly got honest with yourself, you know that there are things that you could do, but those things just scare the shit out of you. And this is relevant to any area of life where you might feel stuck, whether it's in you're feeling stuck in a job that's draining you, or a relationship that's not serving you in some kind of way, or maybe you're feeling stuck in some kind of routine that's making you feel numb. So let's take an example. Let's take the job example. So you might feel like perhaps you're unsatisfied or unfulfilled in your job, and you might be saying to yourself, but I just don't know what else I would do. I have been there. And when I sat down with myself and I truly examined what was going on, I realized a couple of fears that were lingering below the surface. So I was scared of going backwards financially if I quit my job. I'd studied for years and spent so much money at university and spent years building my career. I was scared about throwing it all away. I was scared about what people would think if I quit. I was scared of failing at whatever else it was that I would choose to do. I was scared about falling behind my friends. So there were actually a lot of fears that were beneath the surface here, but I was telling myself, I don't know what else I would do. And now I can see it is very easy for the subconscious mind to protect me from all of that fear that was happening by telling me, stay where you are, keeping me stuck in a cycle for a long time. So it was much easier for me to say, I don't know what else I would do, so I'll just wait until I have some clarity. So you can see how fear keeps you stuck. Your nervous system resists change because it feels unsafe. And this is actually wired into our DNA. This fear is wired into us as humans. We want to feel safe. It is a survival instinct. So don't beat yourself up. This is wired into us as humans. And then we also have layers of conditioning on top of this from society, this conditioning that convinces us to believe that stability comes from routine and comes from having a safe, stable job. So there's many layers here, and it can make taking action or making some kind of change feel super threatening, life-threatening really. Our nervous system literally thinks that there is a threat on our life, when in reality this just isn't the case. So change, although it does feel really scary, it's what leads to expansion, or what leads you to moving through your current state of reality into something new. So I know how hard this is. I let fear and anxiety rule my life for so long. So I know how hard it is to take action, but there are ways that you can manage that fear, and I'm here to help you with that. So we know that magic exists outside of our comfort zone. So with all of that being said, I wanted to talk to you about some of the things that I have done that have pushed me outside of my comfort zone this year, that's helped me move out of this stagnant energy to transform the way I felt, and therefore end up completely transforming my reality. And as I go through these things, you will notice they all involved discomfort of some sort. But I'm so glad that I did them rather than wait for a time when I felt ready, because I honestly don't think that time ever would have come. So the first thing that I did this year was to invest in my own growth. So I am a learning junkie. I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on courses over the years, and I love upskilling. But in the past, I've gone quite crazy and just learn without actually integrating and taking knowledge on the action. On the knowledge. So I was like, no, Shay, stop. I put a pause on investing in any learning or courses or anything like that for a whole year last year. Well, I just integrated all of the knowledge. So at the start of this year, I was ready to seek my next course or mentor, and I am on the hunt for the right mentor for me at this stage in my journey, but I haven't found that perfect person yet. So what I did was I invested in a personal trainer. I've been going to gym for a long time, but I've never done sessions with a personal trainer before. I found that I was going to gym and just making it up as I went along. I didn't know if I was making progress. I wasn't tracking anything that I was doing. I didn't have a plan. We know that failing to plan is planning to fail. So I thought, no, I'm just going to hire a trainer. She wrote me a program, taught me how to do all the exercises correctly. I realized that a lot of the things I was not doing correctly. So that felt really good to really prioritize my health and my fitness. I really love Pilates, and I kind of do miss Pilates. I go through phases where I'm a Pilates girly and then I go into lifting weights. I just love with Pilates, you can go get yourself through the door of the class and then you can just switch off and just do what they tell you to do. Whereas with going to gym, into like a free weights gym, you have to really like be your own self-motivator, which I think is also a layer that I do enjoy, building that discipline and showing up for myself in that way and being able to drive myself through that. But I'm sure I'll flow back into Pilates soon, but it's nice to have that variety. So I felt like this was a good move for me at the start of the year. It didn't really feel too scary, this first step of investing in a trainer, because I go to gym anyway. But it did feel quite nourishing knowing I was investing in my health, and wasn't pushing myself too far out of my comfort zone. It also involved a little bit of learning for me, which did feel expansive. And yeah, it really helped to make that first move of moving out of that rut. I was doing something to improve myself. I was investing in my health. So what is a way that you could invest in yourself? Is it a short course that you've been wanting to do, or is there some kind of skill you're interested in exploring, or a class that you want to try? This can be a really good first step, even if you bring a friend along to something new, some kind of class. Yeah, I highly recommend that as a first step. On that note, actually, I also bought a course in jewelry making. So something I want to do this year is really spend more time being hands-on creative. I have kind of robbed myself of that for a really long time. When I was a little younger, I used to love being really artsy and drawing and painting and doing all these things, but I kind of haven't created the space or time for myself to do that because I've been too focused on other things. And I know that is something that I need to do. So I invested in a jewelry making course, which I'm so excited to do. I haven't started it yet, but that's a whole other topic for another time, is just allowing yourself to do things for the sake of doing it rather than it needing to have an outcome, and how that puts you into quite a magnetic state. It puts you into that feminine energy, which is the energy of receiving. And even though it might feel like you're wasting time, really you're opening yourself up to receive beautiful experiences and raise your vibration to match the things that you're wanting to attract into your life. So this is a big shift, I guess, I am embodying, especially here in Bali, letting myself move into that space. Anyway, sidetracked. The next thing that I did this year was I went to a breathwork event. So my friend Lily, she bought tickets to this breathwork event, and it was using the technique called rebirthing. Now, I'd never done rebirthing or experienced this technique before. And one of my other friends had just come back from Bali, and she'd done a whole retreat and facilitation certification to learn how to teach this technique, and she was raving about it. So it really made me super curious to experience it for myself. So I went to this event, and these events can often be quite uncomfortable because you're doing funny connection exercises with lots of strangers to break the ice. But you always feel good afterwards, knowing that everyone is in the same boat. So anyway, we did the connection exercises, and it really created a beautiful atmosphere. And then we went into the breath work, and it was one of the best breathwork experiences I've ever had. I really went into this experience with the intention of just letting go and just letting myself move into the experience in a deep way. And I did, and it was so powerful, and I resonated with this technique so deeply. It's a very gentle technique, and it's very self-led, whereas the style of breathwork that I was trained in, and that is very, I guess, popular in the breathwork world at the moment, is this really deep, intense, masculine, activating style breathwork where you see people online like screaming and crying and shaking. And this breathwork's very gentle, and the idea is that when you allow the body to relax and be gentle, naturally whatever is there for you to release comes up. And I just think that the world needs more slow and more gentle. So yeah, it just sparked something with me. I was having visions about my future, and it was really beautiful. So I was like, okay, that opened up something within me. And then when we got to the end of the breath work, my friend Lily and I were talking, and I said to her, I was like, I think that we need to do a dancing class because this has been on my list for a long time, but I've always been too scared to do it. And she was like, oh my God, stop. We have to. She's like, it's something that I want to do as well, but I've always been too scared. We're like, okay, we have to do this. We're both joking about how we're so stiff. And I just think I've been in my masculine energy for so long, and it definitely shows up in my body. I'm very like robotic. I'm just like, would love to loosen up a little bit. So I just also am beginning to understand the power of moving your body and how it can really tap into a beautiful energy within you, into your creativity, because when you're able to just let loose and let your body flow, you're tapping into that more flowing energy. So I knew that this is something I needed to do. So Lily went off and did some research and she found a class, and we were so fucking nervous and uncomfortable going, but it was actually the perfect experience. So the instructor was amazing, and there were people there of all different ages, all shapes and sizes and experience levels, and everyone was there honestly to just have fun, and everyone was so welcoming. It was honestly incredible. We had the best time. We were laughing so much, and this instructor, she was just, her energy was just infectious. I'm actually obsessed with her. So we finished our first class and Lily messaged me on the way home. She was like, that was the best thing I've ever done. I can't stop thinking about it. And I was like, same. We just both felt so honestly ecstatic and confident and liberated. So we went back the next day and we did another class. So that was an incredible insight for me to see that something that feels so fucking uncomfortable and scary, often, I would say 99% of the time, is nowhere near as bad as what you make it out to be in your head, and can actually be so, so powerful and expansive, and will probably turn out 10 times better than you could ever imagine. So if you have been considering doing a dance class, freaking go do it. Go sign up right now. If it feels too scary, get a friend to go with you. I definitely would recommend doing it with someone the first time. And also just researching somewhere that's not too hectic, because the places I were looking at were like heels and the girls were wearing knee pads and like twerking and like sliding all over the floor. And I was like, I would love to look like that, but I know that I just won't, and that will feel super intimidating. Whereas this class was like activewear, runners, more fitness style. So that was perfect. So if you're on the Gold Coast, this company was called Mojo Dance. And the instructor Jojo is an absolute weapon. Even if you're not on the Gold Coast, just look them up on Instagram and just watch her dance. It's infectious. So that was honestly such an awesome experience. So going back to the breathwork event, after that breathwork event, I went and asked my friend who had just been to Bali to do her certification. I asked her about that certification, and she did this training with a man who was trained directly by Leonard Orr, who actually invented and discovered the rebirthing technique, which is insane. So I messaged this guy and I decided to book in the retreat myself. I put down a deposit, even though I had no idea where the rest of the money was going to come from. I had no plans on going to Bali, but I just booked it in and I just trusted that it was going to work out. I knew in my gut that it was a good decision. And this definitely felt scary. It felt a little crazy to just make that decision when I, there were so many other pieces that I need to figure out, but I just knew I had to do something big. I had to take a chance on myself. I had to invest in myself, and this felt super aligned. So an idea that I have unsubscribed to that has really helped me to grow a better awareness of myself and my body, that I would like to share with you, is this whole idea of if it's not a full body yes, or if it's not a fuck yes, it's a fuck no. I get what this idea is trying to say, but if you're someone who does experience a bit of anxiety or a bit of fear in your body about change or doing something new, then this idea is just so unsupportive, because I guess I've followed that idea for so long, but because I'm always feeling a little bit of anxiousness about anything new, that made me think, oh, it mustn't be right for me. This isn't the right time. It's not a full body yes, when really that's not supportive and it's not true. So an example of this is something else I did this year, was something that felt so fucking uncomfortable and scary to me. And my body was saying, hell no, but I knew that it was a yes, and I knew that it was something that I need to do. There was this beautiful event hosted by a beautiful woman called Amy Morrisby. She created this wellness event at this beautiful hotel in Brisbane. And she asked me to open the event with some breathwork and meditation. This is something I've done hundreds of times before. I've guided breathwork and meditation in front of lots of people. However, something about being in a new space in front of all these women that I really admired, it just brought up so much fear in me. I felt it was just so irrational how much I crumbled with fear, honestly. And when she asked me, I know my body was saying no, 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 but I knew that this experience was going to lead to expansion on the other side. So this is an example of sometimes things will feel constricted in your body, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the wrong thing to do. If you know that taking this action is aligned with the version of you that you're trying to become, then it's probably a good opportunity and worth leaning into that fear and showing up for yourself so you can evolve towards that next level version. So this woman, Amy, she's also creating a Pilates and wellness app. And she asked me to record some breath works to go onto the app, which was an incredible opportunity. So I said yes. And this meant going to a studio and shooting video content of me guiding the breathworks. Again, I've done this before. I've done a lot of speaking on camera for my own stuff, and usually it's Daniel behind the camera, but something about going to this studio and shooting with a photographer I didn't know. Again, I was so nervous. I was getting so frustrated with myself because I'm like, I've done this so many times before, and this feeling of nervousness, it's just so debilitating and annoying because I'm like, I just want to be this beautiful, confident version of me, and this nervousness continues to come up. But I still did it and I got through it. And I know that next time when I need to go into that similar situation, that I would have already done it. I've shown my subconscious that it's possible, and my nervous system has expanded a little bit. So that was another one. So over the past couple of months, I've felt really high strung because I've been so nervous for lots of things. So it feels nice to be on the other side of that. But one other thing that I will mention that is probably the biggest thing that I've done this year that has really expanded me, and is probably what has given me the belief to take the leap and be in Bali, is something that I've been putting off, honestly, for years because of fear. And I put it off because I didn't feel ready. The time didn't feel right. I didn't feel experienced enough. I didn't feel like I was prepared enough. And what this thing is launching the first round of the expansion project. The expansion project is my life's work. And when I examined why I've put this off for so long, of course, it's not the time not being right. It is the fears underlying, as I spoke about earlier. So what these fears were for me was I have a fear of letting people down or disappointing people. And I was worried that people were going to give me their time inside the experience and they weren't going to be happy at the end. And I was deeply fearful that I wasn't going to give the people the transformation that they were hoping for. And looking at it now, I know that that's just a very natural response, especially when no one has actually been through this experience before. But I finally took the step. I did it. I have 5 beautiful women going through the experience. They're almost halfway through, and I'm getting the most beautiful feedback. And I think this has been such a big key in me stepping into that next level version of myself, because this is my business that I'm creating that is going to be the vehicle for me traveling the world and creating impact and connecting to people on a deep level and just infusing everything that I've learned over my 29 years into this product that's going to change people's lives. And I guess it feels really scary because of what it is that I'm creating. And I feel so expanded and grateful to be intertwining myself and my passions and serving women through a business that feels so sacred and so magical. So it took me so long to do it, but I'm so relieved and grateful that I've finally done it. I do wish I did it earlier, but it's going really well, and I'm able to really focus on honing my coaching skills and subconscious techniques and tools to create transformation. And we're working on all sorts of different things. Each client is so unique. And that's what's so powerful about my current model is there is 12 modules of content and learning, but each client also gets one one-on-one call each week where we can dive deep into their unique challenges, which is really powerful. So that feels really exciting and liberating, and I just want to be working on it all the time, honestly. It just feels so incredible. What is something that you have been putting off? Something that you have told yourself that you'll do when the time is right. My love, believe me, the right time is now, right now. Take the leap. Just take one little step forward. I promise you, it is nowhere near as scary as what you're making it out to be in your head, and magical things are waiting for you on the other side, I promise. And this leads me to my next leap of faith, which was coming to Bali for 6 weeks with no plan. We booked flights only 2 weeks before we were due to leave. And we had no accommodation booked. I just had the intention of just expanding and just getting out of my comfort zone and stepping into this next level version of myself before I felt ready. So far, it's been incredible. And of course, we've both said, why didn't we do this sooner? It's nowhere near as scary as what we thought it was going to be. So when we landed here a couple of weeks ago, my sister was here with her boyfriend. Daniel's never been to Bali before, so we went to Seminyak and we spent some time with my sister, and I just showed Daniel around. And then we headed to Uluwatu and we spent a week in a villa with one of our friends. Now we're in Canggu and we have no plans really of what we're going to do next. I think we're going to head to Ubud before I go to my retreat. So we're just kind of living the lifestyle here, and I think I'll create a whole other podcast about what it's like, how much it's cost us. I feel like that will be really interesting for you to hear. And yeah, I don't know, that it's just, I could see myself living here, honestly. The biggest thing that stood out to me so far is just the lack of life admin. Like, no one really cooks. We tried cooking for a little bit, but it ended up being just the same cost as going out, really. You don't do your washing, you don't clean. It's just opened up so much space for me to really focus on my business. Plus, everyone around you, you go out to work at different cafes and everyone's working on something. It is so motivating and expansive and inspiring. So we definitely didn't feel ready to just pick up and go and live somewhere else when we booked those tickets. But my view was, what is the difference between what we're doing in the Gold Coast and what we were doing in Bali? Daniel can edit online. I do design work online, plus I'm building my business and I fully service my clients online. So I was like, let's just go. Daniel was quite a bit more resistant than I was because he obviously can't shoot over here. All his clients are in Australia, so he can only really edit. So that was one hurdle, but we're making it work. And we're proving to ourselves that we can make this whole lifestyle work, where we can work and travel, and it's just the best. And I love it so much. So it's made me realize that we often wait until we have the things that we want to do the things that we want to do, to then be the person that we want to be. Such as, I could have waited until I had the super successful business to then go and travel, to then see myself as the person with the business that travels. Instead, what we need to do is we need to be the person we want to be, to then have the things we want to have, or do the things we want to do to then have the things we want to have, if that makes sense. So instead, I'm traveling and living the lifestyle that I want to live, therefore creating the business that I want to have so I can do the things that I want to do. So be the person you want to be first. I love this quote by this guy called George Lucas. He said, "We are all living in cages with the door wide open." And I do think it is so true. We put so many limitations on ourselves on why we can't do something or why we shouldn't do something. And there is a whole wide world out there with so many possibilities, but we stay inside our cage of our own self-imposed limitations. And I just want to be your reminder that you do have the power to walk out of your cage. So imagine for a second, you are a bird and you're sitting on the edge of a branch. You feel like you're trapped and you're unable to move, but really you're just hesitating to jump off that branch and take flight. The thing is, you've been living on this branch your entire life. It's all that you know. The branch feels super safe because it's familiar, but your wings are fully capable of carrying you somewhere new if you only could just trust yourself to take the leap. The very moment that you spread your wings and take a step into the unknown, you realize you were never stuck. You were just waiting for the courage to fly. And you fly higher and higher, and you soar above the most beautiful landscapes, and the only thing you wish is that you took the leap sooner. So I really want to help you to do that in a way that is super tangible. And this is a process that I do with all my clients inside of the expansion project. And this is the same process that I took myself through when I was feeling really stagnant at the start of the year. And I call this process the expansion list. It's very simple. All you're going to do is you're going to make a list in your phone or on paper, but I recommend putting it in your phone so you can have it with you always. What you're going to do is you're going to make a list of 30 different things that you want to try. So this could be something as simple as literally just changing the way that you drive home from work one day, just going a different way, maybe taking a detour. Just making small shifts outside of your automatic daily routine. And this is going to help you to rewire your brain and bring new awareness and open up your awareness. So you might be trying a new class at a different yoga studio. It might be taking a short course in something that you're interested in. It might be giving a stranger a compliment or paying for a stranger's coffee. It might be posting a video of you speaking about a topic that you're passionate about on social media. I know that feels super edgy. Maybe it's buying a ticket to somewhere you've wanted to go for a long time, or taking yourself out on a solo dinner date. It could be anything. Write down 30 things and maybe make a mix of things that feel really super edgy and a bit scary, and maybe things that feel a little less intense. And you can start off with a couple of the less intense things and move into the more intense things. So once you make your list of 30 things, schedule these things into your calendar to make sure that you're getting them done, even if it's 1 or 2 things a week, and get to work on ticking them off. So every new experience, whether it's big or whether it's small, it will lead to you gaining a new perspective. It'll lead to new insights, help you to grow your confidence, or generate a spark of curiosity or inspiration. It really is about seeing things from a new perspective. So for example, by me going to that rebirthing class or that rebirthing experience, I would never have booked that retreat in Bali, and maybe I wouldn't have taken the leap to come here and to live here for 6 weeks. Or going to that dance class with Lily, I just feel so much more expanded in my whole being just by going to that one class. So I really recommend making a list today after you listen to this. Don't overthink it, just write down what comes to mind. You can just brain dump to start with, and notice as you start crossing these things off, just take an audit of how your energy feels and how your energy shifts. Maybe you can get a friend in on this. Maybe you can send them this episode afterwards and see if they would like to join you on the journey. It can be really nice to do this with a friend, because then you can go to new classes and things together and it doesn't feel quite as scary. And you can also hold each other accountable and also bounce off each other and talk to each other about how you feel going through this process. Life is too short to let irrational fear stop you from trying and doing all of the things. I honestly would love to read your list So if you feel called, please send it to me. I would love to be your cheerleader in this process. And to wrap this up, just remember that the feeling of being stuck is often just the fear of change in disguise. We are conditioned to stay inside our comfort zones, but by embracing new opportunities and embracing new experiences and moving through this fear, you unlock your growth and your creativity. You unlock new ideas and inspiration and clarity about where you're wanting to go next. So, thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Higher Self Club podcast. If you found value in this episode, it would mean the world to me if you could leave a review or send it to a friend who you feel like might find some value from this. I honestly just love podcasting, and I hope what I'm sharing is useful. I feel like this is a message that my younger self really needed to hear, and I wish that I could go back and hear myself say this because she really needed a kick up the bum to get moving. And I honestly just let fear rule my life for too long. So I really don't want that for you. So just taking those baby steps first, find something that feels a little edgy, take action, and then just go from there and see where it takes you. I hope you have the most beautiful rest of your day, and I will speak to you on the next episode. Bye for now.